Well, good evening, my friends. How are you tonight? We are doing fantastic. I'm technically assuming that we're both doing fantastic. I know I'm doing fantastic. Are you doing fantastic, Clay?
Yeah, always.
Good.
I'm upright. I'm breathing, and nobody's shooting at me. So yeah, I'm good.
Any day like that is a good day, right?
Always a good day.
All right, good. We're going to get the intro out of the way, and then we're going to chit chat. Okay, well then, what's up, my friend? What have you been up to? Anything exciting?
Mostly quiet weekend here in Eastern PA. Not a whole lot going on. We had a little bit of crazy weather kind of moved through. A lot of windy, a lot of cold. It's stuff that just keeps you inside. It did enjoy the federal holiday on Monday. That was very nice.
Nice.
Local to me, the barber shop, right, atmosphere, right? It's kind of very similar to the beauty shop atmosphere, I guess.
Sure.
But I have a local gun store that has a very counter bar stools. Go in there, guys go in, shoot the breeze, kind of thing. And I spent probably a couple of hours yesterday at a place called Shoot Angry Incorporated, Shoot Angry Inc. right around the corner from my house. Yeah, great little place, great gun shop, good people, and spent a lot of time, just in there kind of shooting the shit, I guess, and it's great. It's one of those, I'm not a drinker anymore, so it's not like I go to the bar and hang out with the bartender or whatever, but yeah, Shoot Angry right around the corner from my house is a great place that I just kind of go and hang out with the guys and talk shooting and guns and world events and all that good stuff.
That's so cool. It's like instead of like the coffee shop or whatever, or the barber shop, like you said, you guys, that's a better, I don't know, to me, that's like a even more fun place to hang out.
Yeah, it's, and people, because it's a retail place like anything else, people come in and out, and they join in the conversation and then they fade out of the conversation. And so you spend a couple hours down there and you get a handful of people to pass through. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. I love it. I did not do what I normally do during this time of year. As I've probably mentioned 1,000 times, I hate the winter. And I hibernate as much as possible. Like during the week, I barely leave the house. Like there's been days where the truck hasn't moved for, 2 days, 3 days even. And I make like a contest of it. Like, how many days can I go without leaving the house? My husband's like, this is a problem. This is probably not normal, but I do. Guys, don't worry. I do leave the house. I'm not a hermit or a recluse.
You're a shut-in, Elsa.
I'm a shut-in. I am like that little bitty, and I got my little house coat on. All I need is like 20 cats, and I'm all set, right? But this weekend we were out every night. We're at that like stage of life. I don't know if it's an age thing. I don't know what it is. But if we go out, like normally, if we go out on, say, Friday night, we act like that's it. Okay, well, we've been out. I mean, we did it. We went out. We're not going out again. We're like, we just got to recover from that. And it's not like we go crazy or anything. We go out to dinner. We have a nice dinner. We maybe go see a band or something. But, then after that, we're like, oh, well, we went out Friday, so we're good. And then if we have plans any of the other days, we're so mad about it. We're like, oh, why do we have plans? This is terrible. But they were all great plans. Now I'm panicking a little bit because people that we were out with are probably like, wow, that's really nice. Really nice.
So taxing. Taxing.
Right? Like, oh, I'm sorry we're such a burden to you. Yeah, but it's bad because I'm not used to socializing as much as we did. And honest to God, it was so much fun. But Sunday after church, Sunday we were busy too. So it was Friday night we went out, Saturday. Do we go out during the day? I don't know. It's all a blur now, but Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we were out every day, like just young party animals we were, and even closing places down. We were out until midnight. It was crazy.
It is a little bit of the age thing, right? I mean, we talked about it last week. A couple of weeks ago, I was out, down in Florida, jumping out of an airplane, and it's a super social atmosphere. It's all veterans, but it's one of those early days that ends early, right? So
Right.
I'm up at 4:30, get dressed, get some food in the belly, that kind of thing, and then get there, and we go through all of our prep and all that stuff, and then you jump and you're done by, like, you're on the ground and everything's kosher by like 9:00, 9:30.
Oh, wow.
Right. And then we're back and we kind of, shake out parachutes, and we we pack them up and we put them away, and you rolling into lunchtime and early lunch, and we kind of hang around and shoot the breeze, and everybody talks about the jump and just camaraderie and all that stuff, and you get done about 12:30 or so, and by that time I'm like, I need a nap. Like, I am done for the rest of the day. Like, I'm back in the old days, I hate to say this, not that long ago, I'd jump out of a plane, and that was like first activity of a 2-week training exercise.
Wow.
For 2 weeks after that. Now I do it. Okay, I gotta go lay down. Like, I'm
now you need a nap.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. There's something about, and I used to like be so resistant to naps. Like, I thought it was like, oh my God, how could you sleep during the day? That sounds horrible. It sounds like you're wasting your life. Now I'm like, you mean I can take a nap right now? Oh my God. Like, the excitement is like, if somebody says, I have $1 million for you, here it is. And that's how I feel about, realizing that I could actually take a nap. Oh, I don't know if it's sad or good, but it is.
Drifting back into being toddlers. Like, oh, it's nap. It's nap. Yeah. Okay. Nap time. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God. Those little stinkers don't know how good they have it. I mean, you get a nap and cookies. Like, come on. What is better than that? I'd pass on the animal crackers. I was never a fan of those, but you give me a cookie, I'm a happy girl.
Nap and a cookie. Elsa can be bought for a nap and a cookie.
So simple. So simple. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, no, that's right up my alley. Food. I'm very food driven. I'm like, like a dog in training. How do you train your dog? How do you train your Elsa? You just offer her food and she's just, she'll do whatever.
Yeah. Treat. So sad. Anybody want a treat? Do it for a treat. Yeah.
Yeah. It's sad. I should be embarrassed by it, but
no,
it is what it is, man.
Cool for that.
Oh my goodness. All right. Anybody watching is sitting here going, are they gonna get on with the show? They're just gonna sit and talk about themselves all day? Come on, you guys love it. I don't know if you do or not, but if you do, let us know. We can talk about ourselves all day. Why not? Not really. We can talk about each other.
That we could probably do.
Right?
For sure.
That would work. That would be good. Yeah. Let's see. So what are we talking about today? Where are my little banners? Oh, okay. So yeah. So let's start off with Alexey. I'm not going to say it right.
It's Navalny.
Navalny. I can't see now.
Yeah.
I said it like 5 times before, and I said it perfectly. And all of a sudden now, when it counts, I've just froze. That's sad. I'm glad you got it though.
I think it's Navalny.
You're right. It is.
For those, everybody knows, I think it was in the headlines all over the place, his health has been failing, but to go backwards in time, he was a opposition leader to Putin, political activist, blogger, lawyer, among other things. He got, I think it was 2020, he got poisoned.
Yes.
Yeah. Big surprise there, right? He got poisoned, almost died. And then went to, I think they moved him. They got him out and got him to Germany.
Yes.
And then for some, I mean, you want to talk about a guy who's dedicated to trying to improve his country. He turned around and went back to Russia.
Right back. And of course, got arrested.
And he's basically been in jail since then. And
here's a picture.
Right.
Of him there. Yep.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I mean, that's pretty amazing. Like, you've just been poisoned. You've just recovered from getting poisoned, and you're going to go right back into the thick of it. It's dedication or crazy, a little bit of both. I'm going to go with dedication though. Passion and for the cause that he believed in the country that he loves and loved. And very sad for his family, sad for everyone. And I'm looking at all the info now. He was 47 years old.
Yep.
So how long was he actually in prison? So when he came back, was that 2021? Is that right?
So I think it was 2021. So he got poisoned in 2020, rapid health decline, almost died, got him out, went to Germany, got treated in Germany. That was a pretty long recovery. And then I think, yes, somewhere in 2021, he returned to Russia and then immediately back in. So he's been in prison for three plus years, or 3-ish years. And, everybody, you hear the term a Russian prison, right? Or,
Yes.
the Siberia kind of a thing. I mean, that's essentially what happened to this guy. And it's no secret. I don't even know if Putin's ever really denied that, his people were behind it, the KGB or whatever the KGB is now. But I mean, it's not a secret. I don't think anybody in the world believes that it wasn't, the Russian state responsible for this entire thing. And it was the removal of a political opponent.
Yes.
The
Sounds strangely familiar.
Opponent, right? Yeah. And by, okay, so the poisoning failed. And listen, the United States is, we tried to kill Castro with exploding cigars, right? We're not above something like this.
Right.
We haven't been, but the poisoning failed, and for whatever reason, he decided to give them another opportunity, and they arrested him as shortly after he got back to Russia. So political opposition out of the way, in jail, right? Assassination attempt failed, and then they just put him in prison.
Yes. Gee, I wonder, there's somewhere else. I can't think of where it is that they're trying to put their political opponent in prison. I can't think of where that's happening. It can't be anywhere that we would live in. That wouldn't happen, right?
And let's be fair, right? There's one candidate who's got 91 counts against him, and we're going to talk more about some of that here shortly.
Yes.
But let's be fair and honest. Both sides of the aisle, like President Biden's under some pretty serious scrutiny right now, right?
Yes,
His brother paid him $200,000 after taking a $600,000 payment for some, out of the country medical something. They were trying to court I think company out of Saudi Arabia. So that's being investigated. Obviously you've got all the Hunter stuff. You've got the Ukraine stuff. You got the China stuff. It's all, so we've got no, we don't have a lot of room to talk about jailing political opposition because it seems to be going on just about everywhere.
Yeah, am I crazy to think that this is a relatively new as in 2016? I mean, were they doing this before to each other? Everybody trying to get each other in prison? I mean, Clinton, I guess. Well, Nixon. Okay. All right. Well, yes, this has been going on for a long time. Yes, that does seem to be the answer, right? I mean, they were legitimate things. I'm not saying that they were, inconsequential or trivial or silly or anything like that. But I guess that is part of the whole political game.
Well, and then depending on what conspiracy theory you prescribe to, you've got Kennedy. Even before that, they got him out of the way, right?
Yes, that's right. That's probably that might be the biggest one, right?
Right. So again, we're not above any of this, but this is being played out on an international stage under an international lens, and there's very little denial going on. You can't believe it's a coincidence that he got poisoned, he got cured, and then he got put in jail, and then he just stayed there until he died. Like that's
right.
Not,
yeah. So the official word was that he just came back from a walk, and he was unconscious, and then I don't know. I guess he just died. That was basically the official word from the prison officials, right? The gist of what happened. He went for a walk, came back, and was unconscious, and that was it. This guy's 47 years old. I mean, certainly, probably given the conditions he was probably in, he was probably not in the best of health. So could he have died of unnatural causes, or natural causes but caused by unnatural circumstances? Certainly possible, but it's a little bit inconceivable, right?
Hey, Epstein hung himself, so
of course he did. Right,
there's that.
Yes.
So the removal of political opponents while in jail or political threats while in prison, also not above potential within the United States. So we're not,
Right.
you can make as many comparisons and parallels as you want with this thing,
Sure.
because all over the media, people, oh, Putin, he's horrible, and this and that, and they, and yeah, a little bit of internal. Take a look
Right.
inside first before you start
Right.
saying stuff, because we are not above the exact same things that are going on over there. As much as we like to point fingers at Putin and he's a crazy man and everything else, but there's plenty of evidence that kind of stuff goes on right here and has been going on here for decades. So
Yes.
yeah, it's bad. It's horrible. I feel terrible for his wife, who truthfully has been super outspoken. Right? I mean, she's putting herself on the chopping block.
Yeah,
If she keeps running her mouth, not to sound terrible, but if she keeps speaking out against Putin and the Russian government, she is going to end up in the same place. It's not going to go well.
No, they don't really. Well, like you said, Putin he's not denying it. I mean, I don't even think he's saying much of anything at this point, right? I think he's kind of like, whatever. And, so yeah, it's not like here where they at least have to pretend to be good guys, a little bit different.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. And that's, you're right. It's everybody, pretending, hiding behind, things like, oh, well, he took an oath. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. He took an oath. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I was like, I remember back with the Olympics when they were in Russia. I remember a story about the rings that they were supposed to light up at a very specific moment in time, and they didn't. And literally the next day or within 2 days, the guy that was responsible for that job mysteriously was found dead. So they play by very direct, different rules, I guess. They're not different rules. They're just way more direct, I guess is the only word I can come up with offhand. But now my question, I guess, is, and I don't know if you have the answer or not, but my question is like, why now? So let's say that they did, it wasn't natural causes, just not a freak thing, and they got rid of an opponent. Like, why right now? Is this a specific reason in this moment? Are they sending a message? What do you think?
That's a good question. I'm not as up on, current affairs in Russia as I probably should be. I don't think it has any direct relation to what's going on in Ukraine.
Okay.
I don't know if maybe the impression is that the Tucker Carlson interview went better than is being portrayed. Like, well, maybe Putin's not crazy. Maybe he's maybe he is a normal, and then they're like, well, everybody thinks he's normal, so let's take care of this thing now. I don't know. It's a good question to ask. And again, I'm not as up on, current affairs in Russia as I probably should be to make that determination. But
I'm definitely not, as we well know. But yeah.
And nobody over there is asking the question. So, some international journalist who is outside of the Russian borders is probably the person to start asking those questions.
Sure.
Because you certainly don't want to do it from inside, because you'll end up there too. Yeah. That's a good question. Why and timing that's a great question to ask.
Yeah, I'm very excited that I asked that question. I'm very proud of myself. I'm going to pat myself on the back for that one. Yeah.
You would stump Jean-Claude Van Damme with that. She would tell you that we'll circle back to that. It's okay.
They would have to circle back, and just don't have any answers for you for that right now. And kick me out of the room for even asking it. Yeah. Oh man. So we've got some crazy times going on over here as well, of course. What do we talk? Oh no, we're not on that yet. I'm going out of order. I was trying to. No, we're staying.
It all rolls together. It's okay.
It really does. It really does. You want to talk about Denmark?
Yeah. So just continuing on the Russia-Ukraine thing. So with the war going on, continuing to go on in Ukraine, right? The Russian invasion. And
it's just crazy to me.
Right. NATO as a whole, continuing to back Ukraine as is probably in their best interests, and I've said this from the beginning. I think Ukraine is a NATO problem. So I think they should, they should be the ones contributing. Oh, by the way, just as a side note, before we talk about this, the NATO nations contributing. Their requirement is to contribute 2% of their GDP to defense. Like that's in the NATO charter. Okay. So whatever your GDP is, you have to dedicate 2% of that to defense. It's a requirement. For years, it was like us and England, and then it was us and England and Romania. There was like 3 or 4 or 5 countries max. This year, for the first time, maybe since NATO stood up, I think it's 13 countries.
Wow.
Are over the 2% mark, right? So when the threat is real, right, people start taking this stuff seriously.
Right.
So talking about Denmark, I guess Ukraine put in a request to NATO and maybe to Denmark specifically, but I think to NATO in general. They said we need more artillery, we need more cannons, we need more artillery to continue this fight against Russia. We've lost enough, or maybe what we have isn't sufficient enough. So they asked for more artillery. Denmark, which doesn't necessarily have a huge military, but they have turned around and they are giving every single cannon that they have to Ukraine.
This has to be unprecedented, right?
Yeah.
Like nobody's ever done.
Yeah. This isn't Lend-Lease, right? This is not like us sending shiploads of rifles and machine guns to England and to Europe. That's not what this is. Every single piece of artillery they are giving to Ukraine. Now, I'm not an expert at geography, but I am a pretty well versed in geography when it relates to warfare. All right, so Russia, Ukraine, Poland, a little bit of water, Denmark. If you are really, really worried, as NATO, as Europe as a whole, if you are really worried that Putin is going to take Ukraine and then continue west, right? I think the last thing you want to do is give away every single piece of artillery that you have.
Seems like a strange choice.
I don't, it's a gamble is what it is, right? It's a strategic decision that either they'll have time to get more, or somebody else will cover for them, or I don't know.
Right.
But I thought it was very odd that the decision was, we'll just give them everything. Caboodle. We'll just give them all of it, and leave ourselves with nothing. I can't, like you said, I think it's unprecedented. I can't imagine another nation giving every single piece of anything, an entire capability to another country. I don't get it.
No, I am baffled. And I have no military training, expertise, anything. I watched a few movies and I'm married to a guy that, that's the extent of it. And even I'm sitting here going, that doesn't sound like a very good idea.
No, and it's, Desert Storm, for all of us that are old enough to remember, skewed how most people viewed modern warfare, because it was, most people don't realize or remember that, Iraq had the 4th largest army in the world when that kicked off. Okay. And they were modern. They were trained. It was a professional army. They did have some conscript, but it was a professional army. That war lasted 100 hours, that ground war. 100
hours.
100 hours. The coalition, mostly American, rolled through there and smoked everything that they had. Right. And we all watch it on TV. We were putting bombs through, air shafts, and it was the coolest thing in the world. And we all thought that was how war was going to be forever. Well, there's some principles to warfare that don't change, and having artillery is part of that, right? That is not a capability. That is not a capability that you give up because now you think, well, drones and airplanes are going to take the place of that. Well, maybe to an extent they're going to take some of it, but you don't ever give away your artillery. Like that's been since they started launching catapults. That became like the best thing around. Sure. And artillery is referred to as the king of battle. It's a chess reference. They're referred to as the king of battle for a reason, right? It is one of the least mobile, but absolutely the most powerful thing on the battlefield. And that's the chess reference, like the king piece on a chessboard. And Denmark was like, here you go. just take everything we've got.
There
I
it
don't
is.
get it. I
I
really
don't.
don't understand it. It's very
There's
strange.
certainly no strategy there. I mean, it's a gift, basically, right? He's not saying
They're not getting it back.
there's no exchange. Like you're never getting it back. That's,
No, no,
that's
it's
a
never
gift.
coming back. Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I guess it's a, belief in NATO as a whole by Denmark. Like they just believe with their whole heart that, if anything bad happens, that they've got NATO to back them up. But if I'm Danish, I'm not buying that. Like I'm not buying it. So yeah,
No.
very, very interesting I think they have a Ministry of Defense, if I remember correctly. I think they have a ministry. So if they have a ministry by their Minister of Defense or by their president, I think it was a very interesting decision.
Yep, it definitely is. I'm sorry, I'm playing around with our things here. Sorry, guys. So yeah, I don't. This is going to be interesting as everything that is going on in the world right now. It's yet another one of those grab your popcorn moments and just sit back and see how this is all going to play out in the world. And I feel like that we are just spectators to the most bizarre circus show on earth. And it just gets wackier and wackier every single day. And of course, center ring is, of course, you guys can guess it. Our guy, Trump, he's center ring always, I mean, well, they take turns. In fairness, they all kind of take turns taking that center ring, but he certainly gets a lot of time up in that center ring. And of course, what was the number? 300 and what's the number?
55, I think 355.
350. Yeah, 350. Yeah, over. It's not going to be actually over that, I guess, by the time it's all said and done. I have on here like 350 million. He was fine. They barred him from running. We're talking, of course, the New York trial that he lost, and they are barring him from running businesses in New York for 3 years, and that goes for his sons and several business partners, associates as well. I think the word of the night is unprecedented, right? I mean, this is yet another, are you kidding me? Wow moment. And, and the obvious, of course, he's going to appeal. But this, what's his name? Judge Arthur Engoron. Is that how you say his name? He's quite a character, to say the least. Letitia James. I mean, this is,
I'm not a business real estate guy, so I had to get smart on this and really understand kind of the nuts and bolts. So I watched and listened to quite a few people who work and live in this realm, and the best explanation that I heard was this. So the charge of fraud was based on the fact that in an attempt to borrow money to continue to buy real estate and build on real estate. What President Trump did was he
exaggerated,
overvalued his assets to the bank. Right now, the every business analyst, every business person that I saw talk about this all said the same thing. Everybody does this. I was
just going to say, I'm like, I almost finished the sentence. I'm like, doesn't everybody do that? Yeah. Yes. Okay.
And it's a negotiation essentially with the bank, right? When you say, well, I want to borrow whatever, $250 million. And they say, okay, well, you've got to have X amount of assets to back that up. And you say, well, I've got this and it's worth, 140 million. And they go, well, we value it at 110. And then it's like, okay, well, let's settle at 125. You know what I mean? And then, and so you go back and forth, and it's negotiation so that they know and understand what you have and what you can back it with when you get the loan, if they're going to give you the money and all. But again, commonplace happens all the time. Right. Everybody does this.
And now correct me if I'm wrong, but the kicker is he paid everything. Like he didn't default on anything. No. Right. So there's no crime. There's no injury. No one's hurt by this. No one lost anything. The banks didn't lose anything. Everybody walked away winners. Nobody got hurt. And he is being fined for doing nothing wrong.
Fraudulent business practices is what it boils down to. Now, okay, let's say letter of the law was wrong. Okay, I'll concede that he was. Even the business guy said that. Yes, by the letter of law, he's wrong, but by common practice, everybody does it. Totally accepted. Not a thing. So there's that. But the aftermath, outside of just him appealing, I learned a lot more. And again, this is a great one because I really did learn a lot on this one. So the 3-year ban of him doing business, the repercussion of that is that he is going to most likely close down everything that he has in New York City. Trump Towers, all of it. He is going to close it all down. So that real estate will get sold that nobody can really afford to buy.
Nope.
Right. Or if they can afford to buy it, they can't afford to do anything with it. Right. All the employment, everything that goes along, everything that's got Trump all over it in the city of New York.
Yep.
They're saying he is going to move it if he loses the appeal. In the meantime, he will continue to do business as usual. But there is the threat of all of that. Everything that he owns, every business that he operates in New York is going to get shut down and moved because he can't. They've said it. They banned it 3 years.
Right.
So that's potentially huge.
So now,
the city loses his tax revenue. That's the thing. They lose tax money. And everybody says, oh, well, he cheats on his taxes anyway, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, he might cheat on his taxes. He's still paying hundreds of millions of dollars, across all of his assets. It's crazy.
And by what they think is cheating is taking advantage of all of the things that are
every business
available to take advantage of, that most wealthy people do. Business, anyone who knows anything about money, they are going to look for every loophole, everything. So he's not doing anything different than anyone else. It's just because he's Donald Trump and they hate him, to the expense of, or to the detriment of the city of New York.
Yeah.
The people of New York. You know how many jobs, just Trump Tower alone, how many businesses are in there? How many jobs? How many are there residences in there as well? I can't remember.
Besides his?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Besides his. Yeah.
I think so. I'm not positive.
I'm not positive either. But let's just say, an insane amount of people are going to be affected by this. And then the audacity of it. And I don't know if it was Hochul. I don't know how to say it. Hochul, or one of the other ones. But somebody came out and said, because business owners, wealthy business owners in New York City are kind of like, whoa, hey. What does this mean for me? You're going to come after me? And they were like, you don't have anything to worry about. Nothing to worry about. Okay. Sure, we don't. So nobody is taking out a loan like that in New York ever again. It's not happening. Right. Because they know that they can't do what has been the common practice, which is the, haggle back and forth with the bank and a little bit of overvaluing and those kinds of things. They know that they can't do it. One of these other business guys, and I should have got his name down and I didn't. He said that there's New York has now solely with this decision, New York has turned into a loser city. And he said that he grouped it with Southern California, specifically Southern and Central, Los Angeles and San Francisco, right? The Bay Area itself, because nobody is opening a business in San Francisco and nobody is opening businesses in LA. They're all moving. So those are both loser cities. And now New York has just joined that crowd because of this decision. And because of what you said, which is all these business owners are like, I'm not going there. What are you, crazy? Right.
Like, why would I risk that? So the repercussions of this, not just to Trump and not just to his assets, but to future assets, is just going to get worse. Yes.
Yeah, the very idea and real possibility that New York City could become essentially a ghost town. Now, is that an exaggeration? Sure, but Not by much, not when you're talking about the amount of people, tourists and businesses and just everything that's there. They're overrun with migrants all over the place. Those curfews, I'm sure, are working out very, very well.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Like we joked about it last week. We're like, yeah, I'm sure at 10:59, they're like rushing back to the shelter so they
All
can
in
be
their bed. They're
all
all
in their bed,
Yeah.
tucked in with their cookies and their
Yeah.
milk. But oh man, it's bad. And I'll tell you what, I haven't been to the city. I don't know. It's been a long time. It's been quite a few years since I've been here. We used to go all the time. We used to do our 4 times. It was seasonal. We'd go 4 times a year. Each season, we'd go to New York to the city and make a day of it and just have a great time. You couldn't catch me there for nothing. Nope. Not unless I have to. Not if it's business and I'm in and out of there. Fine. I won't be happy about it, but I'll do it. And yeah. But for pleasure, no. You see the videos, you see all the things. They have destroyed that city to something that's almost unrecognizable.
So 2 more things for context. One of them is, so we talked about this is obviously it's politically motivated to go after Trump, right? No question. Nobody's even being shy about that either, right? So you've got that. You've got all the poor decision making by Mayor Adams, that's all going downhill. Even he's backpedaling and trying to, course correct and get things back on track. But if you go back, I think probably, what's it been, 5 years now? The Amazon miss, driven by AOC herself.
Right.
Okay?
Yes.
So go back those 5-ish years when she was so adamant about the tax break, because that's what it was about. It was about them not paying their fair share of taxes.
Right.
And that's why that whole thing got tanked, was because she wanted them to pay their taxes, not taking into account the sheer amount of jobs and revenue that was going to come through the city. But because they weren't going to pay their fair share of taxes, Amazon said, fine, we'll go somewhere else. And they did. Right.
Yep.
So a couple of key Democrat moves in the last few years have really, really taken a toll on New York. Whether people want to acknowledge it or not, or if they want to draw those lines and connect those dots. But between that move, that Amazon, sabotage, Mayor Adams and all his and all the stuff that defunding the police and then all the migrants and everything, and then now this thing with President Trump and the aftermath that's going to come out of that. Put those 3 things together, and now you're starting to get even diehard Democrats in the city of New York, very much like diehard Democrats in the city of Chicago, are going, what in the world did we allow to happen? Why do this leadership is screwing us? It's all going bad. And you're starting to get a lot of, shaky people living in the city. The last thing, and I don't know if this is going to come to fruition or not. Have you seen this thing with the truckers?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, it happened, and then now the guy's kind of backpedaling. Typical, he's a Chicago guy. I think they call him Chicago Mike or something like that.
So I did hear a couple of things about his reasoning for backpedal. I heard 2 different things. I heard one, and I'm sorry, I don't know the guy's name. Do you happen to know it?
I think it's Chicago Mike is what they call it.
Okay, yeah, it's like I thought it was like truck or something, or I think So okay. Yeah. Yes. So I heard 2 different things in the span of hours, and I don't know which, if even either are true. One, that it was upsetting his grandson, and so that's why he kind of took it down. I don't know that, that one seems you didn't hear that. I saw it on X. Let's blame Twitter. And the other one was because he something to the effect of that he didn't want it to affect other people's livelihoods by pushing that on them. I don't know if any of that is true, if any of that was the reason, but for whatever reason. And then I also heard that he only took it off of like one platform, like he only took it off of Twitter or something, and it's still active. So I don't know. I don't know. Do you have more intel on that?
So for those that aren't tracking, so this guy, Chicago Mike, I think that's what they call him, or that's what he goes by. He is a truck driver and has, tried to mobilize very much in like the French farmer, kind of thing that's going on over there, right? He's trying to mobilize the truck driving force of the United States to stop making deliveries to the city of New York. Now, I think he was kind of playing to the independent truck drivers. I obviously for the big companies, they're not going to stop. And, the companies that have their own fleets are not going to, Amazon and others are not going to, that's not going to stop.
Sure. Right.
But I think he was really trying to play to the independent truckers to say, listen, we're not happy. We're all conservatives. We're all Trump lovers. We all think this is garbage. The lawsuit's frivolous. They're just screwing with him because he's Trump. So screw the city of New York. Let's just stop making all deliveries to the city. And that was his play. But then he came back, and I don't even know if it was 48 hours. It might have been less than 48 hours because it gained traction. It gained traction very quickly.
Very quickly.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden it was like, well, maybe that's a good idea. And I think your point of, I don't think he thought through the impact of the small bodegas and the mom and pop places and the smaller, stores and shops that really need those deliveries and how much it was going to affect them. And then, oh, by the way, the consumers in New York, right? It's not just going to hurt the city. It's going to hurt the people that live there. While I admire his gumption and the fact that it did gain traction very quickly was pretty impressive.
Very cool. Yeah. I suspect this guy
it was misplaced. I think that was a bad call.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. I suspect that he was just angry about the verdict and expressed his feelings. And it grew legs. It grew legs and ran. And I don't think he was expecting that to happen. He probably figured, maybe I don't know what his following is, but maybe he had like just a modest following, and he figured he was just venting and throwing out an opinion. And and it like you said, it was definitely under 48 hours. Let's put it that way. So
Chicago Mike got famous real fast.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes.
Yeah, he got his 15 minutes. That's for sure.
Woo, whether he wanted it or not. So and you do feel bad because when these people get thrust in the spotlight like that, and they're unprepared for it, you get both sides of the spectrum. People that are telling you that, a lot of expletives and not very nice things, and you're just sitting there like, all I did was give my opinion on something. I didn't know this was going to happen. And then other people are bolstering you up and trying to make you basically their mascot. So I feel for the guy because that is a alarming position to be put in when you're not looking for it or expecting it. Right. So yes, social media, man, it's crazy. I mean, I guess it's one of those, cautionary tales of like, always assume that if you put something out on social media that it'll go viral. Now, chances are obviously it will not happen, but if you go into it always assuming that it will, you better make sure it's something you really want out there.
Yeah. And again, if you're not like, I'm sure that the first time it happened to you, that you got a little bit of hate traffic, you were like, whoa.
Oh yeah.
Like, whoa.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then you I hate to say you get used to it, but you kind of do.
You do.
But yeah, I mean, this guy, whatever, Chicago Mike or whatever, probably wasn't expecting, because he got both sides of it, I'm sure.
Right.
Like you said, he got people that were cheering him, and then people that were probably, it wouldn't surprise me if that guy had threats against his family. I mean,
I bet.
And
people are bonkers, man.
Yeah, and I'm sure, like you said, he wasn't prepared for that. He just threw it out there, and it went nuts. So
yes,
I don't envy him that.
No, I know. And I would put money on that is exactly how that whole thing went. Just, here's how I feel about this. And just spoke off the cuff, threw it out there, not expecting it to grow legs. And it did, poor guy. Yeah. But so I wish him well. I hope wherever, if he just can't, quits all his social media and says, I'm done with this nonsense, or if it pushes him into, who knows, maybe a spotlight position, who knows, maybe that'll work out really well for him. No idea, but
maybe he is from Chicago and maybe he'll run for governor of Illinois. That would
that would be interesting, right?
That would be a nice change of pace for that state.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
But hey, talking social media and things, technology and things getting out of control. I mean, our this topic, AI. I had a little bit of a wake up call. My best friend, we commiserate all the time. He works in Hollywood, and you know, he does a lot of things in Hollywood. He's a TV writer. He belongs to the Guild, which they just went through the whole strike, and then, you know, the SAG strike afterwards and everything else.
Right.
And you know, a lot of that was based on revenue from streaming, right?
Yes.
Because for years and years and years, they all relied on residuals. Contracts were based on residuals from reruns and replay, right? So if you wrote for a TV show and it aired, you know, prime time, you got a certain amount of money, and then when it was shown in a rerun in prime time, you got a certain amount of money, and then every time, like, you know, the people who, you know, like the cast of Friends is still getting money off of reruns.
Oh yeah,
they
will,
day, right?
In perpetuity,
and they will
I'm sure.
In perpetuity, right? But what was never being accounted for, or not being accounted for well, was when somebody went to Netflix, or they went to Amazon, or they went to Hulu, or they went to whatever, and they streamed something that you did. They weren't getting compensated for that, right?
Right. Streaming's
been around for a decade plus, right? Yes. I remember my friend talking about this quite a few years ago. Like, I think two contracts ago for the Writers Guild, right?
Yeah.
And then this time it finally came to a head. So the news scare, they just settled the streaming thing, and now it's this, right?
Now it's this.
And you and I have talked AI a couple of times, just casually between the two of us. But this is like, AI is really, really coming to the fold in every way that you can imagine.
Every possible way. And the way that it is and has been affecting actors and those people is that in a lot of different ways, but just for one example, when they want to do either, say, reshoots, or, you know, change language or words, or they want them to say things that the actors don't want to say, they'll use AI software to simulate it, to, you know, basically take their place, use their likeness, but use AI software to have them speak what they want them to say. And that's creepy and crazy. So, you know, they're taking that away from them. But AI, man, it's in everything. It's there. People are using it for book writing. People are using it for, you know, for everything that you can think of. And, you know, there's no, you know, and hence the Wild West, there's no regulation of this. They don't know what to do with it. It's so fast. It's infiltrating every single aspect of life, including your doctor's office, you know, robotics and all of these things. It's taking the job of people. It's taking over. You know, it's literally taking over the thing that everybody, you know, they made all those movies of, you know, the AI is going to take over, or the robots are going to take over the world.
Skynet on Terminator. I mean,
yeah,
that's all AI. Yeah,
exactly. And here we are, and we're, you know, it's not like the Terminator where we're fighting it. We're saying, oh, good. Oh, you're making my life so much easier. Write my book for me. Write my, you know, my scripts for me. Do everything for me. And it's crazy.
So our lawmaking process is bureaucratic and cumbersome, which is part of the problem, right? We are not moving fast enough, and we will never, as it stands right now, move fast enough to, you know, set laws in place, protections in place to protect against AI, right? There are nefarious people, horrible people in the world that will absolutely use AI in the worst possible ways that you can ever imagine. Because people suck, and that's our reality, right?
Oh yeah. And the lowest form of that is these like spoof calls. You know, these you know, mama, I've been kidnapped, and it's an AI generated voice, and, you know, and people are falling for it, and terrible things are happening. I mean, that's just one of the many things. But
yeah, there's, I mean, it you know, it can get a lot darker, a lot quicker, and I'll make one reference, and you guys can jump to all kinds of different places from that. With AI, it is possible to develop, without ever having a human being involved, child pornography. Okay?
Yeah.
And you know, there is some sick son of a bitch out there who's going to do it, if they haven't already, right?
Right.
Now, is that legal? Is that not legal? It's not a real child,
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you get into all these gray areas. And again, our legal system is not agile enough to put protections in place to protect from
Right.
this.
And right now, you're right. There is no answer for that right now.
No.
There's no answer for that of what do you do? And I think, not child pornography, but there was a big splash about Taylor Swift, her likeness being used in pornographic content, and it is, the technology is so advanced now that people can't tell, so it really does. It's not like, I don't know. I can't even think of any of the shows where, back in the day when it was so obviously, animatronic or whatever. I don't know.
Green screen and all kinds of. Yeah,
exactly.
Photoshop and all that stuff. It was always readily apparent. But, I mean, in every horrible way possible that you think somebody can use AI, they will use AI.
Mm-hmm.
And it is going to develop so quickly. And again, back to the conversation with my best friend, he said that one of the scary things in Hollywood right now is, if you take a script for a movie, whether it was written by a human being or written by AI itself, you will be in the next 12 to 24 months, you will be able to take that script, dump it into AI, and it will generate a full-length feature film with not a single actor in it. Done. And it'll do it in a matter of no time. Right.
So
and then,
crazy.
And then even if there's something bad in it or something wonky or whatever, like they watch it and they say, they just go in there and it's all digital and they just change it. Right. It's not difficult. So, again, every possible way that you think somebody's going to exploit this, they're going to, and it is going to affect, and we are in a lot of cases, we're welcoming it, which is just unbelievable. All the telltale, like all of the cautionary tales are out there. We joked about Terminator and Skynet, but that's that is a cautionary tale. That is an extreme cautionary tale, but it is out there.
Yes,
this is we collectively. You would have thought that our conscience as a nation, as human beings, would have slowed this down, right?
Yeah.
You remember cloning?
Oh,
the sheep?
Yeah.
Right?
Dolly.
Everybody in the world.
Right?
Everybody, I won't say everybody, the vast majority of the world looked at that and went, this is a horrible idea. Like, we need to stop. But there was a handful of scientists that were like,
think what we can do.
Let's do a cow next. We did a sheep. Let's do a cow. You know what I mean?
What's next? Yes.
Right. And you're going to have the same thing with AI. You're going to have a group of people out there that are going to jump on it. I will tell you now, as a substitute teacher, kids love Chat GPT.
Oh, I'm sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Schools right now are having a hard time protecting themselves from kids writing things on Chat GPT.
Right. I was just going to say, that's another
I need a paper on
level
Romeo
of
and Juliet
impact.
by tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Oh, gee, that's going to be so hard. Here you go. Just drop in a couple of lines, and you can't, what are you going to do? How do you, if they go in and change a few words and dumb it down a little bit, or I think even with that stuff, there's different categories of, summarize. I've seen it. I know somebody who uses it for stuff. They plug stuff in there. And if they want it to, they can choose whether they want the language to be casual conversation style or professional, business professional, casual, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, listen, I get that the love and appreciation for convenience and ease and fast stuff and it's a fast-paced world. We want everything 5 minutes ago, and this is how we get it. But now that this box has been open, Pandora's box here is open, and how the heck do you get the lid on that? I guess that's the $1 million question, or I guess now with inflation, the $1 billion question. The $1 billion, right? That's nothing. Chump change. Yeah. But that's the $1 billion question right now. Like, how do you undo or pump the brakes on this now that it's already so huge and it's infiltrated so much of our everyday life, so much so that we don't even realize how much we're already using or engaged with AI. So if somebody has the answer to that question, I don't have $1 billion for you. Do you have $1 billion for them? Okay, so forget the $1 billion, guys.
And the hard part is we're balancing, because there are some things that are coming out of AI that are amazing. Some medical breakthroughs that AI is coming up with that people could not have put the pieces together, and certainly not as quickly as AI has. There's been some leaps already because of the use of AI. So you're in that like, well, if we shut it down now, then we like, this was awesome. We want to do more of this. And it's like, well, yeah, the problem is this awesome stuff is offset by this really crappy stuff over here that some dirtbag's doing. And there's no in between. So yes, it's the $1 billion question. We can't move quick enough on protective laws. And I, for one, do not trust the United States government to be in charge of AI.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Yes, that is literally the last thing that anyone should want to happen. And, but there are going to be, just like everything else, people are going to be, pounding their fists and saying, what are you going to do about it, government? How are you going to fix this problem? Well, they're going to fix it the same way they did the social media, with the tech hearing, fixing it the same way.
It was so successful.
Nothing but grandstanding.
They haven't done anything, by the way. That was what, 3 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago we talked about this. Nothing has changed. Zero.
What? Nothing's changed? I'm shocked.
But you're right. Nothing. The U.S. government will waste more time and money and effort, and they won't control anything, and it won't matter. And some smart guy like Zuckerberg or Bezos or somebody's going to capitalize on it, and they'll be in charge of everything within a matter of a couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the only answer for right now, guys, for all of us, is that we need to be more diligent, more aware, we need to, I hate to sound like the survivalist doomsdayer, but we need to build a bunker. And I'm just kidding. But we do need to become a little bit more, go back to being self-reliant and not so dependent. So I think the only way you can start is like in our own homes, with our own lives, with our own technology and all of that stuff. And I am going to make a conscious effort because I am definitely technology attached for sure. So I don't know where my changes are going to come, but there's something, I don't know. We'll see. I tried, man. Listen,
I'm the guy who can still sleep outside and kill my own food, so I'm okay.
Oh, I'll tell you what. I actually, there's a weird part of me, and I hate to go over here. We're okay. There's a weird part of me that like kind of loves the idea of everything getting shut down. Like, I'm a camper. I love camping. So, and I'm hardcore. I do the tent camping. I'm not so. What's that called? Glamping. I don't do the glamping. Yeah. I don't care. There's a weird part of me that would love for everything to get shut down. Don't hold me to it, because I'll be probably the first one complaining. But
well, it's funny because manual or rudimentary is the solution in a lot of cases. Like when we talked about school, the answer is give the kids a pile of paper and make them write a paper. Like, here's the final exam. No Chromebook, no computer, no tablet, no nothing. Right. The problem is that most of the kids can't physically write. It's not that they like, their handwriting is atrocious and they don't know cursive and all those other things. But to keep them from using AI, Chat GPT, and all these other things, make them write out of their own brain. Yes, and that's how you do like the converse of the tech explosion is to go back to rudimentary. But there is some romantic kind of notion in that. I think it's pretty awesome. But that may be the way we got to go. Yeah, I think so. In the meantime, guys, after you watch the show, well, no, you're going to be watching it in the evening, maybe. If it's daytime and you're watching this or listening to it, go outside, get some fresh air, get out in nature like that. I feel like that is the answer to so many things. Like, turn off the phones and all of the distractions, go outside, get out in nature, breathe that air in, and just disconnect from it all. Even if you could do it for like an hour or two a day, just that time to like let your brain regenerate. Right? Yeah, no, for sure. Outside's important. Yeah. All right, guys, that is our healthy living tip for the week. We are so appreciative of you guys hanging out with us. We look forward to your comments. You've been absolutely phenomenal, engaging in that comment section, and we love it. Keep it up, and we will see you next week. Clay, as usual, you get to close them out. Hey, just one last shout out to Jeff and the folks over at Shoot Angry Inc., my local gun shop great people, and I always enjoy going over there. They're good folks. But as always for me, keep moving, keep shooting.
Take care, guys.